Hi, and welcome to episode 19 of Soft Signal. If this is your first time watching us, we are Indian cricket podcast to talk about primarily Indian cricket every week. And if this is not your first time, thanks again for watching us, and I hope you enjoy this episode. As always, my name is Varun, and I'm joined by my co-host Aditya. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good. What an awesome week, right?
Yeah,
We finally won the test match. We could have won the first one, but if there were any doubts, then we won the second one. So awesome week for the Indian test team, and I think all Indian fans around the globe are super happy that India has won at Lords.
yeah. I mean, awesome doesn't even begin to describe it, right? It was just a great test match from a neutral perspective, but like from if you're an India or England fan, just one of the best test matches I watched in recent times. It ebbed and flowed over all 5 days. And ultimately, we won by 151 runs, but it was much closer. It could have gone either way. So let's start right at the beginning. The first day, the opening partnership of Rohit and Rahul, which wasn't even going to be a partnership before the series started, put on over 100, which that's been our problem in overseas tests for a long time. And we've got now, I think the first test they got 97, so almost 100, and now they crossed 100. Rohit getting 80, and then Rahul getting that century, of course. But so yeah, I mean that's just set the tone, right, for a great test.
Yeah, that was a great start. I mean, uh, when people say that the openers are so crucial towards laying the foundation towards a test match or a test innings, they aren't saying that lightly. It is so important that the opening batsman or the opening bowlers lay the foundation. And for India this time, it was the opening batsman. It's interesting that you said that Rahul and Rohit were not the first choice openers. In fact, they weren't even the second choice openers, right? Because
Yeah,
Mayank Agarwal and Rohit were the second choice. And then KL Rahul has got his chance now after Mayank got injured. So he's taken it, he's grabbed it with both hands. I mean, there's never been a doubt about how good KL is as a batsman across all formats. Uh, he just had a slight blip, I think, over the last few years in his test match batting. But I think in this series, he's tightened his technique, he's leaving deliveries, he's being more disciplined, and it's getting him the benefits.
yeah,
And of course, Rohit Sharma again, too good a talent to not figure in the Indian Test team for that long in his career. I mean, he's only now kind of established himself as a Test match batsman. I think it's been 2 years since he's established as a
ever
Test
since
match
he's been
opener.
opening, yeah.
Ever since he's been opening. So I'm really happy to see that here are two guys who are really good as batsmen, and who finally found a place in the Indian batting lineup. Uh, of course, with India having an abundance of resources and abundance of options to choose from, it just takes one bad series and then you're replaced. But at least what both Rohit and Rahul have shown is that they have the required temperament, skill, and class to seal down this position for a while. And that, of course, is going to be good for India when they travel overseas.
Yeah, they have a tour of South Africa coming up later this year, so that will help. But it's just, yeah, it's opened up a good problem because now when Gill comes back, where does he bat? Does Mayank even play? Do they have Shaw in the reserves? When will he ever get to? Because they're all openers. So, I mean, I think Gill might be able to bat middle order, but Mayank, Shaw, Rahul, they're all openers. So where do they all bat? It's going to be very interesting times ahead.
Yeah.
Just
But it's
opened
a
up.
good problem to have, like you said.
It's a good problem, yeah. But yeah, that opening partnership really set the tone. So um, Pujara again failed in the first innings, unfortunately. Then Kohli came in, got about a 40, which was looked good. Got out towards the end of the day. 276 for two at the end of the for three at the end of the first day. I think we were all expecting 400 at least. It would have been a really because Rahul was still in, Rahane was there, Pant, Jadeja, all of these guys. But yeah, the next morning it was a familiar Indian collapse. There was a bit of resistance, but yeah, we ended up, I think, way shorter than we expected. 364, I think, was the final score.
Yeah, it was. It was that exactly. I mean, this is what happens when you have Ishan Sharma bat at number eight.
Yeah,
Let's put it bluntly. Of course, things turned out differently in the second innings, but
yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah,
yeah, we'll get to that. But don't know whether that was just a flash in the pan. Having said that, yes, the tail was long. Let's face it. The first innings, Ishan Sharma batting at number eight, that is already signs of a long tail. Um, I think again the problem was that numbers three, four, and five are not pulling their weight as yet. We said during the review that for Virat, it's okay. He seems to still be comfortable at the crease. He's just not converting those starts. But for Pujara and Rahane, again, they didn't really do contribute that much in the first innings, though they did in the second. But we'll come to that.
yeah,
The first innings they didn't really contribute much. And I think England's bowlers, led by Jimmy Anderson, once again did the trick for them. I mean, Jimmy Anderson, for all the negative publicity he receives whenever we play England, whenever India plays England, let's face it, he's a really good bowler, uh,
yeah,
and more so in English conditions. So I think he brought England back, and that's exactly what this Test match was about, right? One team dominating, then the other team coming back through some good performances. So I think day two belonged to England when they actually came back into the Test match
yeah.
and kept it interesting. I mean, had India got 400, 450, these days those are winning scores. But England came back and kept the Test match more interesting.
Yeah, and then like a phenomenal innings by Joe Root again, 180. I think he and Anderson are just carrying this team. Without if either of them gets injured, it's going to be more trouble for England. But yeah, day three belonged completely to Root, and at one point England were just 60 runs short of India's total, and they still had 5 wickets in hand. So it looked like they could have got a lead of about 100, 150 even. But actually, the Indian bowlers came back really well in the last session of the day. With I mean, and it was a controversial selection with all four fast bowlers who could barely bat, but I think that paid off, especially in the second innings, but in the first as well. And then that famous Bumrah Anderson spat. So I've read multiple versions of it. So one said that Anderson was upset that he's bowling bouncers, 10 bouncers. If you watched Ashwin's video where he talked about it, he there was even something that Anderson said like you're bowling at 80 miles to everyone else and you're bowling at 90 to me. I mean that sounds really ridiculous. It's like you can bowl at whatever speed you want, but any views on that whole spat? Is it just a overblown thing, or and is Anderson being ridiculous?
I think, to be honest with you, I think Anderson is a little bit cranky in
Yeah,
these kind of situations. I mean, it's odd for an international cricketer to say to another international cricketer that bowl slow at me or bowl
this is
don't
not
bowl as
gully cricket.
fast. I mean, this is what we used to do when we were
Yeah,
kids, right? When we were,
exactly.
if we were facing some friends who were elder to us, we would ask them to bowl a little slowly because we couldn't handle the pace. But
Yeah,
this is not that cricket. This is international cricket. So it was weird that Anderson was upset by the fact that Bumrah was bowling faster to him. Look, it's number 11. The strategy to get number
yeah,
11 out is pretty evident. A couple of short balls followed by a full ball at the stumps or outside of stump to get him to nick. That is the strategy. I mean, Anderson himself would have used that strategy against
yeah.
other number 11. So I think he was being a bit too cranky, but Jimmy Anderson does that. That's his nature, I think. Or that's probably what gets him competitive. I don't know. But again, I think India's bowlers pulled us back once again, just as England's bowlers did for England in the first innings. So
Yeah.
our bowlers pulled us back. Of course, this was the advantage of having four fast bowlers. So it's about weighing the pros and cons. But the pros are clear. You have four fast bowlers in those conditions, then you can always be a threat. You can always go through several periods of play where bowlers can take wickets. So really glad to see that all the bowlers contributed even in that first innings, except for Jadeja, all the fast bowlers
They
they
shared
did
the wickets, I think. Yeah,
get the wickets exactly. So again, a team performance, And once again, the test match started ebbing and flowing. So
Yeah.
when England should have got a 100 run lead, they only got 27, and India was still in the game.
Yeah, and that set things up really well for day four, where yeah, everyone expected that India would hopefully try to bat out the day and then maybe try to set a target. At least that was the Indian fans' expectation. Didn't start too well. Rohit got out to uh, unnecessary shot. Kohli looked good, and then he just edged off in that typical fashion. And it was 55 for three, only 28 ahead, with Pujara and Rahane at the crease. Honestly, at that point, I thought we were going to get all out for 120, 130 at the max, but they then just like batted like the slowest ever. But I think at that point it was needed. Like while watching it was frustrating because the runs weren't getting built up fast enough, and they seemed like they could get out at any moment, but they still managed. And were you convinced by what you saw, or do you think there's still some?
So
It's still dicey.
I think it's still dicey. I mean, Rahane at least, the thing with Rahane is that he appears very loose. Every time he plays his stroke, you just feel like he's playing a loose shot. But the advantage of Rahane is that he'll keep the runs ticking at least,
Yeah,
right? So at least, when Rahane is batting, he's scoring at a decent enough strike rate. My concern is with Pujara, right? In that kind of situation, he scored 45 out of, I think it was 150 balls or something like this, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the thing is that on docile Indian pitches, you can bat out, tire the bowlers, and then capitalize. But on these kind of pitches, it's a risky strategy to take, right? So
yeah,
he got 45 of 150 balls. Had he got 75 out of 150 balls, that's still a strike rate of 50 and another 30 runs to the total. So it makes a difference. Now, I know Pujara's approach is different. It has worked in the past. Sometimes it's not worked. But I always feel that with Pujara and Rahane, with Pujara mainly, you always are in with a chance because even if he's occupying the crease for a long time, he's not hurting you too much.
yeah.
So you get a good ball and he's gone. He's spent hours at the crease, but not really hurt you that much. With Rahane, I think, of course, when the situation is tough, it kind of tends to get the better. It tends to get the best out of him. So against 60 odd runs in a tough situation when you're not in form takes a lot of doing and a lot of
Yeah.
credit to Rahane for that. But he needs to produce more such innings. He's the vice captain. He's
Needs to be
number
more
five.
consistent for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he can't be waiting for tough situations to produce runs. He needs to be doing it consistently. And for that, I think he needs to tighten his technique up. As I said, he just looks a lot loose when he plays.
Yeah, let's hope they've got some confidence because it will definitely help for the rest of the series. But yeah, they had a great partnership. Then they both got out, and then at the end of day four, it was honestly India were 150 ahead with 4 wickets in hand. I mean, we were into the tail already. Pant was there. Let's be honest. What were your expectations coming to day five? I don't think anyone could have predicted what happened, but with the batting, but what were your expectations? I thought we would get out in 20 runs max.
Yeah, same here. 20, maximum 30 runs, right?
Yeah,
Few of them swinging top edge six, top edge four, maximum 30. Because that's how it's been for
yeah,
India in the last few years. So that I honestly thought that we probably will get rolled out with a lead under 200, and psychologically that is easier for the team batting last to chase something that's under 200. So we weren't in a very good situation going into the last day, but things changed very fast.
the
Things
two
changed
batting
very fast.
legends. Yeah,
Two batting legends, Mohammad Shami coming in at number 9, Jasprit Bumrah coming in at number 10. I think they changed it completely, but let's not get too excited, okay? This is not
yeah,
something that's going to happen every test match. It happened this time, worked for us, but okay. I mean, 50 from Shami, 40 odd, I think it was from Bumrah.
yeah.
Um, I think
And it was
they changed it.
unbelievable to watch, right? And
Yeah,
I think it was also down to in England. I don't know why they let it affect them so much. That whole Bumrah Anderson, where they all said now we're going to get them with short bowling and field placing was weird. They had
Yeah,
to just bowl at the stumps. They would have got them out. Like it was just strange tactics and quite immature for like people like Root and Anderson, even Bairstow to an extent. They've played Test cricket for a while to get disaffected by something. This is really strange.
it's really odd. I mean, the strategy to tailenders is pretty simple in theory, right? Short, short, full, short, short, full, and you keep varying that in an over. So there was a period of play where Mark Wood bowling at 90 miles an hour to Shami with one slip.
Yeah.
That makes no sense, right? You might as well bowl at 90 miles an hour with three slips so
Yeah.
that you at least get an edge and the guy gets out rather than bowling at 90 miles per hour, bowling short balls with fielders stationed at deep mid wicket. I think I think England just lost the plot. I think they didn't keep their calm, they didn't keep their cool at that stage. Um, and clearly Shami and Bumrah did, right? They knew what they saw this coming, they played it well, and in the end, they added, uh, I think it was 80 or 90 runs for the 10th wicket. So, I mean, they batted England out of the game.
And
Pretty
it was a
simple.
not out partnership. They could have
Yeah,
gone on for how Shami might have got on the honors board for a century. He was
yeah,
at 58 or something, so who knows?
yeah. And Sachin didn't
Yeah,
ever get on the honors
so
board.
Shami and Agarkar would have been on the honors board and not Sachin.
That
Not
would have been,
Sachin, not Ponting, not I think Lara and Callis also haven't got.
yeah,
And it's these guys getting on the board. So is the board even that what's made out to be? But we'll get to that's not a topic for
yeah,
this thing.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean at that point there was really only one team that could win. Some people said they left the declaration late. I think it was fine. You got to make sure that it's safe as well, especially after coming back so well. I think the tactic of playing one over after lunch was actually perfect because if we had declared before lunch, they would have had that 30 minutes to get used to things. Now they had to come out for one over, get back again for 10 minutes. So it disrupted their rhythm, which was good. And then, yeah, I mean, I still at that point thought we would probably not win because I thought it would be a draw. But our bowlers, man, it was that was one of the best innings of Test cricket I've watched. Like the whole atmosphere, they were so charged up. At some points, I think they went a bit overboard, but that's fine. We gave back to England what we got, right? And then yeah, just all four of them bowling in tandem to get them out for 120. It's phenomenal.
yeah. Who would have ever thought, right? Uh,
Yeah,
15 years ago, four fast bowlers coming out of India bowling in tandem to get an opposition out in overseas conditions. Who could have thought that? But it's come true now. And these are four really good bowlers, right? They seem to have the tricks. They seem to have plan A, plan B, and plan C. Um, and they also do not stop trying. They're extremely fit. Um, and honestly, to bowl out England in England inside 60 overs is a big deal. Even on day five, it's a big deal. It clearly showed that England lost the plot when Shami and Bumrah batted them out of the game. They were under too much of pressure. And then, of course, when you're under so much of pressure and you're playing a quality bowling attack like this one, you really don't stand much of a chance. Having said that, of course, I didn't expect us to bowl them out within 60 overs. I thought it would mostly be a draw.
yeah,
But I was very happy to see us actually bowl them out in 60 overs in the end. It was phenomenal. And the thing is, I spoke about plan A, plan B, plan C. Um, I was watching the dismissal of Ollie Robinson in that second inning. So he was batting with Butler. Things were looking pretty
yeah,
comfortable at that stage. We still had to take three wickets, and I think we had like 10 or 11 overs to go. And Bumrah comes up and bowls a slow ball from around the wicket. I mean, that's amazing, right?
yeah.
Fast bowlers usually don't do that in Test match cricket. But the fact that Bumrah is thinking, he's trying out all these things, it just shows that these guys are highly skilled and they have a plan B and plan C for each situation, which is really, really refreshing to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And Kohli was great with his reviews as well for once. Both the best of one as well as the Robinson one. And all the England batsmen they got out properly. Like there were no bad shots. It wasn't that they were slogging or something. It was they all got out the wickets were unmerited. I mean, every wicket was on merit, but what I mean, you know what I mean. Like there was no, they didn't give their wickets away.
It wasn't like the 2014 Lord's victory
Yeah,
where they gave their wickets away to Ishant Sharma.
yeah.
This time the bowlers took the wickets. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, just a great match, and sets up the rest of the series really well. I think if we had lost this, it would have just been 10 days waiting for us to try to come back. It's better to be ahead in a longer series, of course, always. Just to end, is this, and this is putting you on the spot, but is this better than Gabba?
Oh, no, I don't think it's better than GABA. I think the GABA is still better, but I could be biased because I prefer teams chasing and winning. So
Yeah,
I could be biased, but this one is very close. Let's put it that way. This one is very close. The GABA we won chasing. This one we won defending and only with 60 overs. So both victories are special in their own sense and really close to each other in terms of the greatness of victories of Indian cricket. So
yeah. I think both victories were close games. Also, like it would have gone either way. I think Gabba may be a little bit more special because it was at Gabba, all that. First of all, the thing around the Gabba that
the
no team has won
fortress.
for 30 years, and we had like a D E team, not even B or C. So then maybe yeah, that it's easy to get caught up in the recency bias and say that this one is better. But I think Gabba edges it, but nothing take away nothing from this win.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It was amazing.
so yeah, I think that should wrap it up here. Still not off the high completely. I know it's been 5 days now, but I still watching the highlights every day. So it'll take a while till it's good to have something to do before the next test. But we'll be back. The next test starts on Wednesday. We will be back to preview it. There's some interesting team changes that might be happening, but we'll talk about that then.
Yeah, those ones are always interesting. Those team changes.
Yeah, so we'll see how that affects things. But thanks again for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you next time. Thanks for watching.